some signs on my body, like small bruises and just small dots, red dots all over my hands, and it alarmed me. And so that was the beginning of, going to the doctors and realizing that I had blood issues. Being on the path of spirituality is related to unhappiness. Any sort of blood issue, whether it be blood cancer or anything of that sort, every element is linked to something.
Like a suppressed emotion.
Right, exactly. Everything just connected that I have to be in India. But I'm going to India first to be in India, and then eventually, if God wills, I will go to Iran and stay in Iran.
Do you know what you're gonna do there in India?
Definitely go to a lot of meditations, you bought all the cars, you bought the house, you've got to the CEO position, you've got to the president of of a country, and you realize, okay, happiness really doesn't exist there. I want something big. It has to be something more, and then that spiritual path is open. Previous lifetime, I learned it very late, just saying we don't know anything, right? We don't know how old we are, really. Soul.
The soul.
That's
the
why
soul's
I don't
age.
believe in the number of age. It's not because we're ladies.
Yes.
Someone asked us.
We don't disclose our age, of course.
You could be 1,000, you could be 500, you could be
2-year-old.
2-year-old. Yeah. That darkness is the pathway to love. Like, just be patient, be kind to yourself, rest. Rest is okay. Healing happens when there were days that I just wanted to sleep. And I was conditioned that no, I am not a good person and rest isn't good. No, rest is crucial, sleep is good. But anyway, just remember that we need the mud to get to become the lotus. We need the mud. Without the mud, we cannot. Just remove the mud and the lotus cannot grow. It just cannot be.
It cannot.
So we need the mud. We need the darkness. It's all good.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Life Happens with Neelima. So today's episode is all about spirituality and healing. So let's welcome our guest, Sun Perayish. She's a spiritual healer and much more. So let's hear from her. So tell me about yourself, Sun.
Hi, Neelima. Thank you for having me. It's a blessing. I have been led on the path of spirituality. It's been a calling, just like many people that are led on the path. It's it's not something that you choose. It's something that calls you from within, and the life events that happens. And
True.
That's exactly what happened to me. So it started with an ailment that suddenly arrived in my life and took me on that path of self-discovery. But it came with a lot of suffering. It came with a lot of pain. It came with a lot of anxiety.
Oh my God.
And the unknown.
Would you like to share a bit about that?
Sure, yeah. I suddenly found out, it was a normal day, and it's so true that you don't know 5 minutes from now what will happen, and only divine knows. I was just at work, and I saw some signs on my body, like small bruises and just small dots, red dots all over my hands, and it alarmed me. And so that was the beginning of, going to the doctors and realizing that I had blood issues. And so they thought first it was leukemia, and after many tests we realized that it was ITP.
Okay, what is ITP?
ITP is basically, to simplify it, it's your platelets. In our body we have, in our blood, we also have platelets, which mine were at the lowest.
Oh.
It was a danger zone. But blood issues, being on the path of spirituality, is related to unhappiness.
Okay.
So anyone who goes through any sort of blood issue, whether it be blood cancer or anything of that sort, every element is linked to something.
Like a suppressed emotion.
Right, exactly. And so mine was really unhappiness. I was really unhappy no matter what I acquired or I got to on the outside. And I had sort of made it, I felt, as a manager at a financial institution, and I had the house and I had the car at a young age, but none of it made me happy.
Like everything a young person would want, you had it all.
Yeah, I had it all, but
especially
it wasn't...
being an immigrant from Iran and moving to Canada and then achieving so much in life. I think that is huge to you, for anyone.
Yeah, because you're conditioned. We go through a lot of conditioning.
Of course.
We are mainly conditioned and programmed that there is somewhere that we're supposed to get to in order to get to that success and happiness, while all of that is sitting within. And it's so easy to say, but that suffering and that pain or whatever that comes is actually a pathway to it. And we are conditioned again to believe that it's not good. But my ailments, which started with blood issue, put me on that path. And so that's why I said it was a calling, because it literally just appeared on my journey and led me to that, place of isolation. So there was a lot of days that I was just in, not a lot of days, a lot of months, I would say 2 years and 7 months that I was glued to my bed.
My God, that's a long time.
That is a long time. Yeah, that is a long time.
And that's a tough. You must be scared during those times.
Yeah, it was very scary because you are faced with the unknown. That life that you thought you had achieved and that never made you happy suddenly was taken away from you. So then, it's a lot of ego, it's a lot of attachment. That's like you're being like, you're sort of facing all of that. It comes right in front of you, and you realize that you have acquired, which didn't make you happy, but then losing it is also making you even more unhappy.
Of course. And I think after something like that happens, and the basic things matter more.
The basic things, which we don't understand.
All this, the car, the house, doesn't matter. It's just the basic things that we have always been taking for granted. Absolutely. They start to matter the most.
Absolutely. We take it so much for granted, and I really believe until your health is not jeopardized, you don't really realize what health is.
What health is.
And it's so true. Like, I have a divine master, I have a guru and says wealth, true wealth is health, but you don't recognize it. And so,
until it's gone.
Until you're glued to your bed and you realize those things, just getting up in the morning, just taking shower with ease, or having hair, I lost my hair, having hair on your head, or, just simple things, which are not simple anymore, are so important, and you never thanked. So it's a blessing. That's why I say it, because we are here to awaken to that. We're here to wake up. And, a lot of us are programmed to thinking that as human beings, we come here to get to a certain status or a position where we actually come for self-realization. We come for that inner connection. So that's how the journey was with the ailment. And no matter what, they couldn't cure my ailments. I went to 3 different countries. I went back to Iran. I went to most hospitals in Toronto.
And they had no solution?
Nothing. They couldn't even understand what was going on, because it started with blood issue.
Okay.
And then other ailments joined in, which I'm not going to get into, but it'll be a long journey. But I had many other ailments that sort of, obviously when you're mentally ill as well, the body
attracts more in
more ailments. Yeah. Yes. So insomnia and just many other ailments that I just caught on.
And were you bedridden for?
Fully bedridden. So
oh my God.
It was 6 years of ailments that made me, so I was bedridden for 12 months first, and then 11 months, and then it was 7 months. So in 3 different episodes during these 6 years that it happened.
It must have been so tough for you and your family.
Yeah, it was great. It was really great. The house was great. Our lives were great. Everything was just great. But at the time, you don't understand that it's all there to serve a purpose. Mm-hmm. And that divine, our creator, or wherever, we come from the one place, and even though we may label him different things like Jesus or Allah, in Iranians, they call him Allah, or they call him, in any religion, it might be labeled, in any path, labeled differently, but it's just that one light at the end of the day.
Of course.
And
there's always someone guiding.
And to really realize that creator knows what he's creating, what he's doing and designing, and that ailment is actually part of his creation, and it's necessary for the soul's journey, because ultimately we're a soul, as you know.
Of course.
Yeah. So basically that's how it all happened, and I had a mystical experience. I don't like labeling, you know this very well, I don't like labeling myself as a healer or a mystic.
I know.
I truly believe the only healer and the mystic is that divine. But I've had a lot of mystical experiences to this day. Like from childhood to this day. And something that happened, it's relevant to my spiritual journey, is something that happened in 2003. And that's when I was fully healthy. That's when I was fully in the programming. I was running to get to a place. I was a young teenage girl. I think I was 19, if I'm not mistaken. And I had visited back home, and that was an inner calling that told me to go back home, because I was very close to my grandma.
Okay.
And that inner voice told me that I must go back home to see her, or she will die if I don't see her. So that calling made me go, that inner voice. And a lot of people ask me, how come I don't hear, or you get those voices, or how come, you know, we all have that inner voice.
We just tend to press it and not listen to it. But yes, I agree. We all have an inner voice, which at times should matter the most.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we all have it. And I think isolation is very important in order to differentiate from the world's voice and the inner voice. And I always had my isolation moments.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
No matter how social I am, there are times I just need my quiet zone, my alone time, me time, so I can connect to, whatever the messages are.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for everyone.
Yeah, and just
to
like
do
how
that.
we charge our phones,
We need
it has
that.
to be going back to the source to get that and to get energized. We also have to have that isolation time to get energized, and that's what really meditation and yoga is all about.
Mhm.
And so I always say to my clients, it's just like how you charge your phone. You have to charge yourself. There is no way, because you'll get drained and then ailments come. So I think I would have to say, since I was a kid, and it could be from a previous lifetime that this was blessed onto me,
Mhm.
that I really needed my isolation time since I was a kid. I remember, like, even as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, I would always want to, even though I knew the street in Iran, we were always on the street, even though I knew where the kids were, but I always wanted to bike on my own.
Mhm.
At some places, at some days I just wanted to be alone.
I can totally
Right?
relate to it.
Yeah.
Similar. Like, yes, even as a child, I was looking for my own time, though, it's good to be surrounded with friends and family, but there comes a time when you feel burnt out,
Right.
and you need to sit back and, take a break and just
chill up.
you and your calmness.
Exactly. And again, like I said, I think this comes to us is because I don't think it's only this lifetime that we've been guided on this path. I think it's lifetimes and lifetimes, and it could be, from a previous lifetime. And so I had this inner voice that I have to go to Iran, and that's where I went to Iran. And I was at my grandmother's house, where I saw, at the time I had no idea what I was witnessing, but I literally had a darshan, and in a darshan in Hindi, if I'm not mistaken, is a sight of a divine being.
Of course.
Of divine. And I had a darshan of a divine being, which 15 years later I realized to be my divine master and guru. So I have a guru who physically, when he was in physical form, he was in India, but his disciples are all around the world. People have seen him all around the world, even though the physical body was only, and he's no longer in the body, but his disciples, he's pretty much the only guru that his disciples have grown into millions since he's left his physical body.
A lot. I mean, if we talk about it, there's no end to it.
Never.
So yes, he is a divine light, and we all follow him.
Absolutely, we do. So I saw him, and he blessed me with giving me a half of Lord Shiva, because he's a reincarnation of Lord Shiva. Mahashiv, Lord Shiva. And so he gave me, I had a darshan of this man, but I saw a vertical 1/3 eye. So that eye was very crucial, because 15 years later, it was actually that, vision that came back to me from my childhood that made me, when I was bedridden, made me pray to him, because I had prayed to anybody and everybody. I used to go to mosques and churches and temples and everywhere that you could name it, but nothing was happening, but it happened at home. So we don't need to go anywhere.
Probably that was the biggest message he had to convey to you, that, it's all within.
All within. You don't have to run anywhere. You don't have to go anywhere. So I prayed to him, and in a week, he came into my life. Within 2 weeks, actually, he came into my life. And within 1 week, I was fully healed of 6 years of ailments. So doctors were astonished, because they didn't have a diagnosis. They couldn't cure.
Within 2 weeks.
Within
just about when you found about him.
After I made that prayer, he came to my life within 2 weeks. And then once I was aware of him, once he gave me the understanding that it is him who I had seen in my grandmother's house
in your childhood.
If you have read Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, it's very similar. I don't want to put myself to a level of him. He's a very elevated soul, But his journey is kind of very similar to mine, because he had a darshan of his guru way before his guru actually manifested himself. So the master appears when the student is ready. But the master could
Absolutely
give you
true.
visions in dreams. In reality, it could be a manifestation, an actual live manifestation, just like what I had. It could be in any form. He will manifest in any form that he sees fit for that soul. You know.
I also believe, even one, you're right, that when the student is ready. Second, when the student requires the most,
Right.
that's when he appears. When I had experience, when I first got to know about him, the guru,
Good.
I was I was about to get something very big upon me. That's another story to be shared later. But when I had the most toughest time of my life, just 2 weeks before that, he entered my life.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's I think both ways. When you're ready and when you require him the most, that's when he manifests himself.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Like I said, it could be very different for each soul. Like the question could be, why didn't he come, at the
Earlier.
beginning? Yeah.
Yes. Why didn't we see him during his when he was in physical form?
Right.
But then there are too many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And he is the one who knows it best.
Knows it best. And if he requires, we'll know. But if not, I think faith is all about going back to all of this. At the end of the day, he comes to build that faith, and that you don't need to know the unknown, because the unknown is only known, like you said beautifully, by him. And at the end of the day, faith is truly trusting. And this path, my ailments, the suffering, the pain, the agony, the gray periods that were really long, and and I have to say, the challenges don't stop once the guru comes. It's not like better verse.
No, it doesn't.
You know this well.
I know it very well.
Yeah.
Like ever since I have had guru in my life, I have probably faced more challenges. I'm not saying in a negative way, but yes, the tests are never ending.
Never ending. And at the end of the day, once the test, or if he sees fit for the understanding to come, because he said himself that understanding comes when it must, in my time,
Mm-hmm.
And so while you're in it, or you could be, the suffering is done or the agony is done, then you realize, wow, I really needed this. I really needed this awakening. My perception has changed. My fears are gone. My faith is
on a different level.
My connection, my inner world, like everything has changed, And a lot of people I've seen, even myself, I've seen people get younger.
Look at you. Look at the glow. Look at the glow. Every time I see you, every time I meet you, you're radiating with, pure light.
It's all, it's all him. Yeah. I think the more you go through that squeezing, all of that rubbish that you had within,
it's taken out.
So we are conditioned as human beings that suffering is bad, and that's what we were talking about before we were recording, that suffering, pain, anxiety. If we were born, like, you have kids, if you have kids, and like, let's say at the beginning, once they're born, like, once they're able to understand, you tell them, hey, suffering is good, anxiety is good, it's for your betterment, then we wouldn't really suffer so much in life, because we are already taught that it's okay. But because we haven't been taught, and anxiety, depression, all the despair, the society still needs to accept that it's okay. It's okay. Absolutely.
And whoever is suffering, whoever is having health issues or any kind of issues, personal issues, financial issues, they need to know that it's there for a reason, and probably not now, later, they will understand the reason for it.
Very true. If not now, later, they will understand. Yeah.
So what did you learn out of it?
So
what was the biggest learning, especially from your ailment? So
when he arrived, the biggest learning for me and the biggest relief was that there's really a God. I didn't go from, it's like, you're a believer, like, I believed because my grandma believed.
Mm-hmm. Like, yes, but whatever.
It's different from believing than knowing that, I know God, then I believe in God, That's so different. I know He's that, like, just that. I think there is nothing bigger than that learning, if I have to say that. I know God is there. I know God is looking at us. I know He's taking care of us. I know He's with us, whatever that.
And He's listening. Most importantly, He's listening to all our prayers.
And He's not out there. He's in. He's not, in the sky. He's not out in a temple. He's not out anywhere. He's within me, he's within you. And the other learning was that there's nothing but God. Like, God is talking to God right now. God is living in a holy place, right? Like, it's all God. It can't come from anywhere else because nothing exists but God. But that comes with a lot of, actually I shouldn't say a lot, because if he wants for you to have that consciousness and awareness in a minute,
Split second, yeah.
Yeah, it can happen. But for me, it took years of connecting to understand that I am light, you are light, everything is light. The person who's cut me off today, I was stuck in traffic and I had a lot of people cut me off. They're God, they're light. And instead of that inner transformation is another, a lot of learnings that come with that there is nothing wrong, there's nothing right, there's just everything is God.
Everything is God.
We just label it.
Yeah, we condition the society norms that make us believe that
Right.
there's a good and there's a bad, but it's
Right.
all God.
All God.
That's true. But what you've learned, and at an early age, some people take a lifetime and still they don't learn this. So I think that's another experience on its own.
I think it's important to realize, I know, it's so amazing but it could be that I'm a older soul, like maybe in my previous lifetime, I learned it very late, and then I'm just saying, we don't know anything, right? Like,
yes.
We don't know how old we are, really, soul.
The soul.
That's
the
why
soul's
I don't
age.
believe in the number of the age. It's not because we're ladies.
Yes.
Someone asked us. Fun part. But
yeah, we don't disclose our age.
Because we really believe that, it's a soul age, and
of course,
we could be 1,000, we could be 500, we could be
2-year-old.
2-year-old, yeah, we could be anything. Yeah, you see, some people you see that they're not really, they're just they're happy in the distractions or in the material of the world, and they're just focused on that. I feel these are the younger souls because an older soul,
they can see the bigger picture,
has come and gone so much. You've gone through them. You've bought the cars, you've bought the house, you've got to the CEO position, you've got to the president of of a country, and you realize, okay, happiness really doesn't exist there. I want something big. It has to be something more, and then that spiritual path is open for you. So it could be that so that's why there's no comparison, there's no judgment if anybody isn't, because we used to be there,
of
younger
course.
souls in the material, in the Maya.
Seen that, done that. Yes, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
People who don't see the bigger picture, probably they need more learnings, more experiences to get to there.
Right.
But people who are old souls, they have different experiences themselves.
Absolutely. It's all part of each person's journey, and there's no right and wrong. So, it's absolutely crucial. Even the person who has committed suicide, the person who has addiction, the person who has committed murder, this is all part of that journey. We have killed in our previous lifetimes. We have murdered. And then the consciousness came that, this is not right.
It's not right.
There's, it doesn't connect us to, it takes us away. So we've learned, the soul learns. And so that's why there's no judgment when you see a murderer. The one who has awakened doesn't judge. The one who has awakened doesn't make fun of a homeless. The one who is awakened doesn't make fun of a person who has
underprivileged,
or poor. Just you understand that that's crucial for that soul's journey. They have to go through it.
They have to go through it. Any message you have for the people who are suffering right now, especially from an ailment which is taking time to get cured?
I would say the number one thing I would say is meditate. Meditate, because we are from the source of all sources, and when you meditate, you connect automatically to the source. So as hard as it may be at the beginning, it may be like, because the mind, it's like a small child who isn't sitting in a room. You have to give it something, to stop, to play, to just focus on. Otherwise, it'll be running around. It's okay for you to have that mind that goes, but learn to meditate. Keep your mind focused on something. There's so many paths of meditation. There's no right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, we can relate at music meditation. We listen to Shabad Gurbani.
Mm-hmm.
which is a divine, worship music.
It gives you messages, it gives you healing, it gives you all your answers.
All your answers, yeah. And even though I don't understand it, being in a different culture, I have Persian friends that we all listen to, but like Guruji Maharaj said, our master said, we don't need to understand it. The soul understands, their vibrations in this. So music therapy, music meditation is very important, and it doesn't have to be Shabad Gurbani. If you can listen to, if you're a Christian, you can listen to worship music that they sing at Elevate Church. I mean, there's so many churches that have lovely music.
Oh, they do.
I think Elevation. There's many.
Yes.
I think there's so many groups that I listen to, and it takes me closer to God that Christians listen to. I mean, it's just one source.
It's just one source, and it's all. It comes from
absolutely. One place. It just has different forms, different. If we were all going, if there was one supermarket and all people in the world were to go, like, let's say, it would be very tough. But he's placed. The food we all eat the same food. Let's say not all the food, but we all, let's say, fruits. We all
eat the same fruit, yes.
But it comes to us in
different forms, meditate. Different ways, different places. Yes.
Yeah. Meditate. If you don't know how to meditate, imagine. Just visualize God in a form of your grandpa, grandma, someone that you love dearly, parents that moved on and passed away. Visualize them sitting in front of you. Talk your heart out. Ask for guidance. Just make a connection, and eventually you realize that those sufferings that you call as bad is actually a blessing. Everything will become a blessing.
Wow.
The traffic that I got stuck in today. The thought comes, maybe a very bad accident was supposed to happen somewhere. Maybe that's why I'm delayed. Maybe, maybe I was supposed to wait, because even the wait time that we go through in our lifetime, we have wait times. So maybe I was supposed to wait in a hospital. God is writing it for me that I wait in traffic in a better way while I'm listening to music, while I'm, thinking good or singing or whatever. Just meditation changes your perception, changes and brings the truth. Connects you to truth, and
shuts the noises.
Shuts the noise. You said it.
Which is so much required in today's time.
Very much so. But it's because of today's time that there's more awakening happening. The transformations are not like before. There's a huge flow of people who are just awakening. So this is a good time.
It's a good time.
Even though the society, the news,
the wars and everything.
It's actually a very good time.
People are realizing, people are becoming more self-aware and more conscious about their surroundings and people around them.
Right, and just to finalize it, COVID. We all thought COVID was but we thought COVID was horrible. COVID woke up a lot of people.
It changed people's lives. But the reason I'm sitting here in Canada today is because COVID happened, and
really?
Yeah, it moved me from my roots and made me come here. So if I wouldn't be sitting here, we wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be here in Canada.
There we go.
So yeah, there's always a reason. So it's very funny. So my last podcast, I had invited one of the very famous food bloggers of India, and we spoke about Steve Jobs' speech from Stanford, that you have to connect the dots backwards, never forward. Yes. And I did speak about this in my last video as well.
I got goosebumps. I was just talking about that as speech.
And I'm just, the way it's relating and everything is just coming into place. The previous podcast, I've talked about everything happens for a reason. And even if it's not, understanding it, why it's happening right now, you're probably going to understand it later. And you're going to look backwards and thank God and thank the divine that, thank you for protecting me and thank you for teaching me what I know now.
Absolutely. It's so perfect, and no coincidence. I was just talking about that. I shared that video with a young boy here who didn't know what he should study in school, and I was like, don't worry, the creator who brought you here knows really well where to place you. Wherever you are right now is crucial, and it's happening for a reason, and whatever is happening is good. So your pain is good, the unknown is good, the confusion is good, the anxiety is good. It's all good.
It's all good. So it's all good. Remember, if you're going through something which is bothering you and you think there's no solution and you think it's the end, no, it's not. There is always something good behind it and everything will be fine.
It's necessary for your journey. It's just necessary. Yeah.
true. So let's move on. I heard you're going to India
Yes.
and with a one-way ticket.
With a one-way ticket.
That's
yes.
amazing. An Iranian woman living in Canada, going to India with a one-way ticket. What are you going to do there?
So after 26 years, yeah, I'm packing up.
You've packed up everything.
Everything. I packed up
So you're not coming back?
I don't know. I really don't need to know.
Wow. I want to go on a journey like that where I don't know if I'm coming back or not. That's interesting.
Never know. You never know. It might happen. I mean, it's just divine design, and I've been in this country for 26 years. It's been a year that I had this inner urge placed.
The calling
place that I have, that Canada is, I have to leave Canada. I didn't know where, I didn't know what. Just a few months back, I went to India thinking, and nobody knew, not my family, nobody knew. But I just went for a visit, and I thought India would be it a few months back. And I went to India, and every day I asked in my meditation to God, is this where I have to be? Is this where I have to be? But he told me to come back to Canada. Of course, for reasons, God just knows how to align everything. There's a divine timing for everything. It was not time months ago. I went there for reasons because my family was going through something that really hit us. Like I said, it's not bed of roses once your guru comes. In fact, like you said perfectly, you are placed in, it's like, how you're in elementary school and it's easy. I mean, you pass and then you go, and then the test.
The higher you go, the tougher it gets. But then I believe he's with you even more during those times.
Absolutely, even more. Yes. And once I returned, I used to live on my own. So where if, I had to now leave, like, it's like I came back, he sent me back so I could finalize my home. My home, I had to give it for rent and then just
pack up basically from here
and finalize everything and do a few things here. So again, everything in divine time. And so suddenly, right after India, when I came back, I was sent to Iran.
Wow.
That was not even my plan at all. That was something that was told to me, go to Iran. And it happened actually with a toothache. It could have happened in India and I could have fixed my teeth there. But because it's super expensive in Canada and what I had to do, it would have made more sense if I got a ticket, got my things done, and it would have been more cheaper there than having it done here. So it's no coincidence that the toothache came right after when I returned to India, because he wanted me to go to Iran and see Iran, because I had not gone back to Iran. In fact, I was one of those people that used to not judge, but say I would never go back to Iran. I would never live in Iran. And I would, just everything that goes on in Iran. I wanted more freedom for the people. I wanted more peace for people. I wanted just more God for people. And anyway, but everything happens mystically, and I go to Iran, and Iran is not the Iran that I had witnessed years back when I was bedridden last time I was there.
Oh, you were in Iran during that time?
During that time, I went for treatments because the doctors couldn't do anything.
You mentioned.
Yes, so I went to Iran, and Iran was godly. For me, it was just a lot of love among people, a lot of just a lot of togetherness with everything that has happened. A lot of darkness has brought a lot of light among people, and that was it was a blessing to witness. And so we had some meditation sessions there, and I realized that people really need that whatever the meditation,
the collective healing.
We need that collective healing in Iran. And I mean, everything just connected that I have to be in Iran. But I'm going to India first, to be in India, and then eventually, if God wills, I will go to Iran and stay in Iran.
Wow. Do you know what you're going to do there in India?
In India, I would definitely go to a lot of meditations, as you know.
True. Every time I speak to you, that's what you tell me.
Yeah, a lot of meditations that I would love to do. Really, I make no plans. I just let it happen as
the divine guides you.
Because he guides and he will do. Nothing is our plan. So there's no point.
That's amazing.
I'm not saying not to plan anything in life. I'm not saying just to sit on it. No. God sees effort. God sees your move. God wants to see that move. You just go based on what your heart guides you. You do the best that you can. and just leave the outcomes to God. So I'm just going to go towards that. A lot of therapy that needs to be done. A lot of people are in need of therapy. A lot of people are going through depression. A lot of people are going through anxiety. So a lot of one-on-ones, a lot of group sessions that will be done, a lot of meditation, and then we'll see when it happens. Yeah.
A healing spree, I would say, guided by the divine light.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a tremendous job that you're doing.
Absolutely.
It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of strength, especially from someone who has had a very tough past, to go and heal and help people. And in a spiritual, or even I think sometimes just listening is a good therapy too.
Yeah.
You just listen to the person, and even if you can't give that person a solution,
right?
But just telling that person that you are available and you're there. All ears to them.
Exactly. Just being there, because at the end of the day, there's nothing better than serving. At the end of the day, no matter where you get in life, what you acquire, nothing will make you as happy as making whether it's an animal, whether it's a person, it's just another being happy. I think that's what we're meant to, and our suffering is created for that, is to awaken you to that there's nothing but God. And so if that person is suffering, God is suffering. I'm not saying God suffers. No, I mean, that vessel isn't yet aware of that presence. And so if I can do anything, and sometimes just your presence alone does the job.
Of course it does. You don't need to. It's sometimes no monetary help or no physical help can cover up for just your presence.
That's it.
And it's all about giving. I've heard this from a lot of people, especially people who are, kind of awakened, I would say.
Yeah.
That they say that, the happiest ones are the ones that are always giving. And the true happiness lies in that, rather than just grabbing and attaining from the world.
Yeah, they say, I think there's a lovely saying I heard, and it stuck with me. If you want to become wealthy, give your money away.
I've heard that a lot, and I've seen people do it. And the people who have done that, I have seen them more successful in life.
Yeah.
I have.
But I have to say that, I feel in my journey, God sees your intent. If you're giving because you expect
fame,
we expect more wealth. We go through testing. It has to be genuine, that I really want to give without receiving anything in return. A lot of people think, oh, okay, I'll give so I get more from God. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to give as if you're... It
should be unintentional.
Yeah.
It should be, you should be giving, and it should come from within.
Yeah, within. Yeah.
Not
genuine.
Yeah, it has to be genuine. That's there. So we will miss you, and I would miss seeing you at our gatherings. We're going to India, but I really I hope and I pray that whatever you're going there for is you're successful in your endeavors.
Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to seeing this podcast and many podcasts, because we see that it's all divine doing and it's all connected, and it's
all divine doing. I would never thought that I would be sitting here with you, and we would be doing this, but I have, during this conversation, I've had goosebumps, and I'm sure the people watching this would attain something out of this. Maybe someone who is suffering, maybe someone who is confused, maybe someone who has anxiety and depression right now can see your journey and get inspired that, look at you've come out of it so beautifully, so gracefully.
Yeah.
And I look at you, and I always want to ask you, what is the secret of your beauty? And like you just mentioned, meditation. So guys, if you want to if you want to get beautiful, you want to look beautiful and young, just like Sun, you have to meditate. You have to connect yourself to the divine, the highest being.
Yes.
So
yes. Just remember that the lotus, if you're going through pain, hardship, just remember that the most spiritual flower is the lotus, and the lotus has to go through the mud in order to become the lotus. So the darkness, I know it's easy to say this, I know we say it all over the world, but when you're in it, it's tough. I know that to the bone. I know that. And when you're in it, you just don't want to hear any of these. But that darkness is the pathway to the just be patient, be kind to yourself, rest is okay. Healing happens when there were days that I just wanted to sleep, And I was conditioned that no, I am not a good person if rest isn't good. No, rest is crucial. Sleep is good. But anyway, just remember that we need the mud to get to become the lotus. We need the mud. Without the mud, we cannot. Just remove the mud and the lotus cannot grow. It just cannot be.
It cannot.
So we need the mud. We need the darkness. It's all good.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all a blessing.
Namaste.
As we say goodbye to Sun and wish her all the best for her journey in India. So here's a little token of love, and so that whatever you're doing, there's no evil eye to that.
That's so nice. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I hope this podcast has helped people out there for their answers, what they're looking for. So keep watching, keep supporting. Life Happens with Neelima. See you in the next episode.